Senator Hamilton.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to congratulate our men from the 10th Mountain Division for putting your lives on the line for our country, and I want to thank Senator Ritchie for this resolution. Our country's going through difficult times right now. We're fighting all over the world, and my heart goes out to your family members who have let you go and fight for this country. We just had an attack yesterday morning, and so we're not even sure we're going to have military going overseas to fight. But on another note, I want to say is that when you put your lives on the line and you fight for this country, when you come home, we should provide affordable housing for you. We should provide you with credits to go to college. We should make sure that we give you everything you need to be successful in this state. But a lot of time men and women go to the military, they come back here in New York City, many of our homeless are veterans living on the street, and that's unacceptable. As we stand here today and we give you the honor that you're due, when you do come home, we should honor you with affordable housing. We should honor you with subsidies to go to college for free. So it's good that we stand here today and we honor you, but let's put action behind our words. Let's make sure no veteran should be homeless in New York State. Let's make sure no veteran who wants to go to school is denied it because he cannot pay for it. So I just want to congratulate you for doing a job that others don't want to do, who like to walk behind you and wave the flag, but who will not put their lives on the line for this state or for this country. And so we should give you everything that you need in order to be successful. At one point in time, the veterans had more rights as far as housing, as far as jobs, as far as getting preferential treatment, be it for the police department, be it for the fire department. You should be given credits. If you put your life on the line and you go for a civil service exam, you should be given credits for your work in the armed forces. So hopefully, as we proceed in this chamber and we give you all the accolades for doing a great job, that we put into legislation and put money into supportive housing, to affordable housing for our veterans, and make sure that they get the education for free for putting your lives on the line for this country. God bless you all, and keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
General Bontrager, the Senate chamber stands at your disposal, sir.
Thank you very much. I speak on behalf of all the members of the division that are here. Tremendously humbled by the reception that we have and the comments here just in the last few minutes. If you sense that it makes us a little bit uncomfortable, it is accurate. It's not why we're here. We don't serve because we serve because we want to be ambassadors for our nation, and we want to do the hard work of our nation. But it's not missed on us, and I do appreciate all the kind comments. Good afternoon, and climb to glory. Climb to glory, by the way, is our division motto. So if you do take us up on the offer to come and train with us for a day, I'd be ready to climb. You might want to work some climbing into your physical training regimen. It might show up handy. But moving on, Majority Leader John Flanagan, Conference Leader Jeff Klein, Minority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins, thank you for allowing me this honor to be here today. In particular, to Senator Ritchie and her staff, thank you once again for this invitation, for making this day possible, and for your continued support. It is an honor for our soldiers to travel here to their state capital to represent the Army that they serve so well. Today gives them a memory that they will not soon forget. Again, I am humbled. What a privilege to address this distinguished body. I am here on the behalf of Major General Bannister, the 35,000 soldiers, airmen, family members, and civilians of the 10th Mountain Division and Fort Drum. And for that matter, I'm here to represent the entire North Country. The North Country and Fort Drum are so closely intertwined that it is impossible to tell where one ends and where the other begins. We truly do live and serve as one. The purpose of my brief message today is twofold. First, I would like to give you an update of your own 10th Mountain Division's current activities. And number two, I would like to express and communicate a sincere and heartfelt appreciation for the continued support of the New York State Senate, Assembly, and Governor for all that you do to show support for our mission and the entire Fort Drum and North Country community. Point number 1. I'm happy to report that all is well at Fort Drum and the 10th Mountain Division. We continue to be the unit of choice to solve our country's most pressing problems. We currently have more than 4,000 soldiers deployed all over the world, to include our commanding general, General Bannister, and the division's headquarters. And while most of our soldiers are in the obvious hotspots of Iraq and Afghanistan, we also have soldiers in Korea, Kuwait, Qatar, Honduras, Haiti, Sinai, Italy, Kosovo, and 4 separate countries in Africa. It's amazing. Your very own 10th Mountain Division, New York State citizens are truly globally engaged. Simply put, the 10th Mountain Division remains the division of choice to solve the nation's most difficult dilemmas. For the past 3 decades, whenever a crisis required sending combat power to a foreign land, America turned to Fort Drum. This truism was again manifest only a short time ago, when an austere area of Afghanistan needed a quick infusion of U.S. Army combat power. The Army looked across the entire force and chose the most ready battalion, our very own 2nd of the 87th Infantry. So again, the Fort Drum community stepped forward. We scheduled last-second touch-up training. We made sure that families were prepared to again send their loved ones off into the unknown. And last month, our 2nd of the 87th Infantry Catamount Battalion stepped forward into the breach. And today, they are standing as a force against evil in the austere southern plains of Afghanistan. What makes the 10th Mountain Division the clear choice time and again is very simple. We are ready. We maintain a constant state of readiness that, in my opinion, is only possible because of our resources and partnerships in the North Country. We are one of the newest, most sustainable, state-of-the-art installations in our nation's Army. We are the premier site for training in the Northeast. We have year-round opportunities such as cold weather training, enhanced live fire training opportunities, and open airspace. Our Wheeler-Sac Army Airfield has 7,900 nautical miles of specially designated airspace that is unique outside of the southwestern United States. Our extensive partnerships with many National Guard and Army Reserve units enable many others to partner with us, to include training with us on Fort Drum, with the ultimate goal of affording the Army with total force options beyond what only the active Army can provide. Our partnerships with our North Country communities are also unique. I've lived on many other bases across America and the world. I've never seen community involvement and partnership like we have here at Fort Drum. We heavily rely on off-post medical facilities to provide our soldiers and their family members with health care, and we totally rely on off-post communities to provide education for our children, with over 7,000 military-connected children attending 78 schools in 19 school districts. Because of how our Fort Drum community relies on off-post communities, we are drawn together. And this synergy brought about by our mutual reliance and dependence creates a powerful connection that makes us all stronger. To wrap this up, your 10th Mountain Division continues to do more than her share to solve the world's problems. But we can only sustain our state of perpetual readiness through the unique opportunities afforded at Fort Drum and through the strength and partnerships of the North Country. Point number 2, a sincere and heartfelt thanks. Since arriving on Fort Drum last fall, I've either met or spoken with many of our local elected officials, just like the incredible reception that we have received here today. And without fail, each of them has offered complete support for anything that we may need, from legislative assistance to the most basic outreach support. And I know their words are not hollow promises. You all are completely committed to Fort Drum, and I can feel that. A few examples. Over the last few years, the Army has committed to ensuring that our soldiers transitioning out of the Army are afforded the best opportunities to find employment. We call this our Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program. And here in New York, representatives from the Department of Labor, Department of Affairs and transition counselors have stepped forward to work with employees from the Department of Human Resources to provide assistance to soldiers, families, veterans, and retirees. This program is also in constant contact with statewide employers, economic development agencies, trade schools, and universities to promote opportunities for these soldiers and their family members transitioning from active duty life to civilian life. We in the Army have a disciplined, values-based workforce who on the foreign battlefields have earned their rightful place in our civilian workforce. We owe it to them to provide employment opportunities right here in New York. Let us continue to infuse our civilian workforce with these young, disciplined patriots. Another example is our Solar Ready Vets program. Last month, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul traveled to Fort Drum for our first graduating class. This national training program is led by the U.S. Department of Energy to prepare veterans for post-military careers in solar-related occupations. The Fort Drum program, which was created through collaboration with the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority and SUNY Canton, is the first of its kind in the state. The transitioning soldiers who graduate are ready to enter the solar industry, one of the fastest-growing industries in the state. This initiative will continue to create good jobs, bring investment to our communities, and ultimately protect the environment. This is just one of several examples of how the relationship between Fort Drum State and Fort Drum is so valuable. Finally, all of you have all repeatedly demonstrated support for Fort Drum, passing legislation to fund several key projects, hundreds of millions of dollars over the years for infrastructure improvements, housing projects, and transportation initiatives, the latest of which is an offer of $25 million for Route 26 improvements and construction of an overpass that will connect our cantonment area with our airfield. All of this resulted in growth for Fort Drum while stimulating local economy and enriching lives of many in the North Country. And the investment that Fort Drum provides is equally impressive. In 2015 alone, our projects, soldiers, and families injected more than $1.2 billion into the North Country economy, and since 1988, this one lone Army installation has infused more than $22.2 billion into the local economy. It is clear to see that New York is good for Fort Drum, and Fort Drum is good for New York. From the millions of dollars of infrastructure to the effort that goes into programs to assist soldiers transitioning out of the Army, New York's continued investment in Fort Drum and the 10th Mountain Division does not go unnoticed. It doesn't go unnoticed by us, doesn't go unnoticed by the North Country, and it does not go unnoticed by the senior leaders of the United States Army. Let me close with a few final thoughts. Precisely like each of you, we are soldiers and we are here to serve. Together with you, we join in lives of service. But our challenges are not completely similar, because in the end, you work for our citizens while we work for our elected officials. Our elected officials are who decide what we will do, when and where, and for what purpose we will do it. We rely on our elected officials to understand what it means to use us, what it means to order us forward into harm's way, into a foreign land, and to understand all that goes with those orders. And I only mention this to highlight the individuals that we rely on to accomplish these missions. You sometimes hear older generations disparage America's youth. And while every generation has its challenges, I am not the least bit concerned with our current generation of young Americans, because the young Americans that I know, the young Americans that I work with, are no different from our soldiers from any other generation. They are simply magnificent. And if you doubt me, I invite you to spend time with our soldiers. Ask them why they serve. Come see firsthand those among us who have stepped forward, raised their right hand, and uttered the oath, "I do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. So help me God." These young Americans represent every state, every territory of the Union. But make no mistake, when we are assigned to Fort Drum, we are New Yorkers. And we proudly represent this state. Once again, on the behalf of Major General Bannister and all of the 10th Mountain Division, Fort Drum, and the North Country, we are truly grateful for your ongoing support, and we look forward to sustaining a valuable and mutually beneficial relationship between Fort Drum and the North Country region. I do solemnly swear. So help me God. Climb to glory.
Senator DeFrancisco.
Yes, could we please take up the non-controversial reading of the calendar?
Very well, and the resolution is open for co-sponsorship. If you do not wish to co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Secretary will read.
Calendar number 70 by Senator Serrano. Senate Print 956, an act to amend the Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 71 by Senator Valesky. Senate Print 639, an act to amend the Social Services Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, the statute take effect on the 180th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 184 by Senator Little, Senate Print 6650A, an act authorize.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute take effect July 20, 2016.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 191 by Senator Young, Senate Print 3060A, an act to amend the Environmental Conservation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 220 by Senator Avella, Senate Print 1148, an act to establish.
Read the last section.
Section 6, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 221 by Senator Laval, Senate Print 1442A, an act to amend the Education Law.
Bill will be laid aside.
Calendar number 234 by Senator Klein, Senate Print 1940, an act to amend the General Municipal Law.
Read the last section.
Section 22, the statute take effect the 1st of January.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 59, nays 1. Senator Sanders recorded in the negative.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 245 by Senator Griffo, Senate Print 3132, an act to amend the Public Authorities Law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 250 by Senator Griffo, Senate Print 6024A, an act to amend the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute take effect on the 60th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Senator Hoylman to explain his vote.
I'll be voting against this bill today. While it's important that we try to extend energy to underserved areas, we shouldn't be doing it on the back of consumers. We should be relying on the private sector, the unregulated private sector, to do what they're supposed to do. And today, also, a report was issued by the Atmospheric Chemistry and Physics Journal, which shows that global warming is happening at an even greater rate than anybody would have imagined. The sea level was thought previously to rise in hundreds of years, but according to this new study by a group of 19 leading climate scientists, including James E. Hansen of the Columbia University Earth Institute, it's actually going to occur over the next 50 years. This has the potential, Mr. President, to create immense new powerful superstorms and of destroying, according to the report, virtually the entirety of the world's coastal cities. 44% of the world's population is at risk, 123 million people in the U.S., 39% of the population of this country. We shouldn't be facilitating the extension of fossil fuels. More importantly, we shouldn't have consumers pay for them. We should be researching ways to provide renewable energies to New Yorkers. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Senator Hoylman to be recorded in a negative. Announce the result.
Ayes 59. Ayes 58. In relation to calendar 250, those recorded in the negative are Senators DeLon, Hoylman, Perkins, and Sanders. Ayes 56, nays 4.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 257 by Senator Venditto, Senate Print 3840, enactment of the general business law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 258 by Senator Golden, Senate Print 4916A.
Read the last
Enact amend
section.
the general business law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 30th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 307 by Senator Laval, Senate Print 229, enact amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 59, nays 1. Senator Latimer recorded in the negative.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 334 by Senator Boyle, Senate Print 6740, an act authorized.
Read the last.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 59, nays 1. Senator Bonasek recorded in the negative.
Bill is passed. Senator DeFrancisco, that completes the reading of the non-controversial calendar.
All right, before I go on, I should have mentioned earlier that the Senator Ritchie's resolution for Fort Drum should have been open for co-sponsorship. And can we do that now?
Yes, Senator DeFrancisco, we made the chamber aware that anyone who does not wish to be a co-sponsor should notify the desk.
All right, can we now go back to motions and resolutions and take up previously adopted Resolution 3406 by Senator Griffo? Read it, title only. Read it in its entirety and call on Senator Griffo.
Motions and resolutions, the Secretary will read.
Legislative Resolution number 3406 by Senator Griffo, commemorating the 200th anniversary of the State University of New York at Potsdam, to be feted with a year-long celebration. Whereas it is the sense of this legislative body to recognize and commend those institutions of true purpose and high achievement whose exemplary programs and accomplishments clearly demonstrate an enduring pursuit of excellence in higher education for the youth of this noble empire state. And whereas this legislative body is justly proud to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the State University of New York at Potsdam, to be celebrated with a myriad of events and festivities planned throughout the year. And whereas the State University of New York at Potsdam kicked off its bicentennial celebration during Welcome Weekend in the fall of 2015, the college's 200th birthday party will take place in March of 2016, highlighting the signing of the charter of St. Lawrence Academy in 1816. And whereas from its humble beginnings in a one-room schoolhouse, SUNY Potsdam has grown to become a leader in creativity, applied learning, and educational excellence. And whereas more than 200 years ago, settlers from the original colonies began to migrate to northern New York in need of new places to settle and farm, the New York legislature posted lands which included Potsdam for sale in 1786, 2 years before the colony became a state, by ratifying the newly written United States Constitution. And whereas in 1806, the town of Potsdam was officially incorporated, from that time on, the settlers and their families came almost all from Vermont, pushing their way westward through the woods. And whereas the early settlers in Potsdam lived a difficult and uncertain life, however, the urge for progress prompted an early movement for education. In 1811, Benjamin Raymond paid for the construction of a small one-room building, which would serve as church, schoolhouse, and meeting house. And whereas on December 1, 1812, the residents of Potsdam sent a formal petition to the New York State Board of Regents to establish St. Lawrence Academy. Unfortunately, the movement for incorporation coincided with the War of 1812. And whereas, despite the uncertain times, residents were determined to raise both funds and support for their academy. A subscription drive continued through the war, raising a liberal sum by 1814, with 312 shares of $100 each invested in the enterprise. In addition, the town set aside literature lots, which could be leased for a fee, which the proceeds intended for the benefit of the new college. And whereas on March 25, 1816, the charter founding St. Lawrence Academy was signed. and work could commence on the school. The trustees of the new institution had plenty of tasks ahead. First and foremost, hiring an instructor, as well as setting a curriculum, establishing tuition, and finding room and board for students. And whereas environmental hardships brought on by a shorter than normal growing season, coupled with economic hardship coinciding with a nationwide recession, made for a meager first year for the new St. Lawrence Academy. With only one teacher, the school opened its doors to students for the first time on September 30, 1816. And whereas, even though the people of Potsdam were struggling, they realized the importance of education and who gave their meager earnings to make Endeavor a success. Appreciating the sacrifice of the residents, New York State gave special funds to support its teacher education program and to help construct a much-needed new building. And whereas, as New York began to follow the Prussian-style model of normal schools, it was fitting that Potsdam, named after the capital of Prussia, rallied to win designation for one of these institutions. From there, the campus was absorbed into the State Teachers College system and finally into the newly created State University of New York system. And whereas, as one of America's first 50 colleges, St. Lawrence Academy was at the vanguard of a new movement in education as a curriculum shifted to meet the needs of the new generations in a growing country. And whereas through the years, SUNY Potsdam has always strived to be an innovator, pioneering new curricula in teaching music education, mathematics, and computer science. The school has a proud history of educating New York's and the nation's future teachers and exceptional musicians. And whereas today SUNY Potsdam continues to thrive on its founding spirit of perseverance and community engagement, which has persisted since the founding 200 years ago, under the visionary guidance of President Kristen Esterberg, Ph.D., SUNY Potsdam stands proud and prominent, always looking to the future and the needs of those it serves now. Therefore, be it resolved that this legislative body pauses deliberations to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the State University of New York at Potsdam, noting the property of its goals, the constancy of its commitment, and the significance of its accomplishments in preparing the youth of today and leaders of tomorrow. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution suitably engrossed be transmitted to President Kristen Esterberg, Ph.D. of the State University of New York at Potsdam.